Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Warriors fans love Klay Thompson, but he decided to leave for the Dallas Mavericks. In today's NBA, there are twists and turns, and according to rumors, the player is unhappy and has expressed his desire to be traded. Would it be feasible for the Warriors to sign Klay Thompson again? He is an important player, and if the Warriors put together a team with some athletic players who are strong defenders, Thompson could still wreak havoc on opposing defenses and form an elite duo with Stephen Curry. NBA rumors, Warriors want to sign Klay Thompson again. Although Buddy Hield has performed well from beyond the arc in bunches this season, he hasn't been the most reliable long-range shooting threat for the Golden State Warriors lately. Hield, who connected on 50% of his triples in October and 41.4% in November, has struggled with consistency since the beginning of December, causing many to question his fit with the three-point-heavy Warriors. If Hield fails to develop a rhythm from deep, Golden may consider reuniting Stephen Curry and the Warriors with a four-time NBA champion guard known for his high-level perimeter shooting. While a return to the Warriors would seem very unlikely at this stage, the idea of Klay Thompson getting traded somewhere isn't that far-fetched given the uncertainty facing the Dallas Mavericks right now, Blue Man Hoops Peter O'Keefe wrote Wednesday. Does Thompson want to stick it out with a team that sold him a dream that's failed to come to fruition, part of which has been their own doing? As for the Warriors, Thompson could actually still play a role on this team who are now surging towards a playoff spot. It's not too difficult to imagine the franchise legend being an upgrade from Buddy Hield, having shot 40.2% from beyond the arc on 7.8 attempts per game with Dallas this season. Thompson recently enjoyed a remarkable 13-year run with the Warriors. Thompson, an aesthetically pleasing jump shooter who has mastered the art of using pin downs and stagger screens, won 4 championships alongside Curry in the Bay. Unfortunately, after a disappointing showing in the number 9 versus number 10 play-in contest against the Sacramento Kings last season, the Warriors swapped Thompson for Hield in the offseason. Although the Mavericks' 2024-25 campaign has been disastrous, Thompson has continued to score efficiently from three-point land. The Washington State product averages 14.1 points per game and shoots 41.6% from the field and 40.2% from downtown. Considering many believe Thompson will be on the move again once free agency begins, the Dubs should attempt to steal the Golden State icon from Dallas and surround Curry with a familiar face. While Hield's contributions haven't gone unnoticed this year, Thompson is undoubtedly the safer wing option for the championship-contending Warriors. Steve Kerr gets honest on future with Golden State Warriors. For over a decade, Steve Kerr has been the coach of the Golden State Warriors. It's the only team that the 5-time NBA champion has coached for. It's hard to see Kerr coach anywhere in the league besides the Warriors, and it seems like that's for good reason. The multi-time champion may not even coach in the league after Steph Curry retires. Kerr spoke with 95.7 The Game's Mark Willard and Dan Dibley where he addressed his potential retirement from the NBA and as the Warriors head coach. I think every coaching job has an expiration date, and I think it's important for all parties involved to be aware of that. So, there's probably something to that, Kerr said. But, I don't spend much time thinking about that. I love what I do, I love this team, I love coaching these guys every day and I'm just going to keep plugging away with them and see what we can accomplish, and then we'll worry about all that stuff later. Kerr then admitted that his coaching career would probably come to an end around the time that Curry's career would come to an end. I think every coaching job has an expiration date, Kerr said. It's important for all parties involved to be aware of that. Once Steph Curry actually does retire, there's very little left for Kerr to accomplish as a coach. He'll be a 5-time NBA champion as a player and a 4-time NBA champion as a coach. After coaching Curry for over a decade, it'll be very hard to recapture that feeling for Kerr. Jimmy Butler achieves feat no Warriors player has reached this season in win over Trailblazers. The Golden State Warriors were able to extend their winning streak to 5 games on Monday as they took down the Portland Trail Blazers. Golden State jumped out to an early lead on Monday against Portland and they never looked back, grabbing the 130-120 victory and extending their hot streak. Gary Payton too led the way in Monday's victory, recording a career-high 26 points off the bench. Stephen Curry added 24 points of his own while Buddy Hield scored 20 points off the bench. Jimmy Butler also had an impressive performance as he recorded a triple-double with 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Surprisingly, Butler's triple-double on Monday night was the first by a Warriors player this season. Of course, the addition of Butler at the trade deadline has worked wonders thus far for the Warriors as he has given them another star player next to Curry. Since arriving in Golden State, Butler has made the Warriors the hottest team in the NBA as they have climbed from 10th to 6th in the Western Conference standings and look as though they are going to be a title contender once again. The 35-year-old veteran forward has given the Warriors another great scorer and defender and provided excellent leadership skills since being traded to Golden State at the deadline from the Miami Heat. In his 12 games thus far with the Warriors, Butler is averaging 17.8 points, 5.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists and 1.2 steals per game while shooting 46% from the field and 20% from three-point range. He has provided the Warriors with another reliable playmaker and scorer but has also proven to be a perfect fit even when the ball is not going his way. Because of this, Golden State has continued to climb the standings and look like a true championship contender with the start of the playoffs just around the corner. The special ways through which Moses Moody and Quinton Post have become valuable specialists. Dubs keep on rolling. With no knowledge of what transpired throughout the game, guessing what the first bucket the Golden State Warriors scored against the Portland Trail Blazers would net answers such as a Steph Curry 3, a Draymond Green layup off of Curry drawing 2 to the ball, or a Jimmy Butler and 1 after drawing a foul in the post against a smaller defender. Even a Moses Moody 3 generated off of an advantage created by Curry or Butler wouldn't be a far-fetched guess. A Quinton Post 3 also isn't that wild of an answer. Rather, it's how Post managed to get his three-point look that was quite unusual, especially knowing how this team has had a history of centers whose effectivity downslopes the farther they are from the paint. In order to understand how unusual the setup was, take note of this typical staggered screen setup, in which two players set staggered away screens for a shooter, who may choose to come off of both screens or curl/reject the first screen. Should Klay Thompson choose option 1 or 2, reject or curl, in the example above, the next progression should be the first screener coming off of the second screener in single away screen action, as what happens below for Patrick Baldwin Jr., remember him? Looking back, Baldwin, a 6 feet 10 inches stretch 4, was a precursor to what happened against the Blazers tonight. Just like Baldwin, the 7-foot post was the first screener in a staggered away setup for Curry, who chose to reject Post's screen in order to clear toward the weak side. Green then comes over to pin in for Post, whose man, Donovan Clingan, is far from accustomed to having to guard an off-ball screening action, let alone having to saunter out on the perimeter. Which makes Post quite a unique weapon, a specialist in the sense that he is the only one on the roster, at his size and position, who can do what he does on offense, stretch the floor from a position where most of his counterparts are uncomfortable guarding the three-point line. Post is also a specialist on defense, albeit in a different manner, for better or worse. Post's immobility renders him unable to diversify his pick-and-roll coverages. Switching him out onto a quicker guard or wing turns him into a virtual traffic cone, both unable to keep his man in front while also not being able to stay underneath the rim to act as the last line of defense. Having him step up to the level of the screen or commit to a full hedge or trap is matchup dependent, while also running the same risk as if he were to switch out, arguably more of a risk, due to the rest of the defense being put in rotation and having to scramble in such scenarios. Drop coverage has somewhat of a notorious reputation in the modern NBA, due to the proliferation of pull-up shooting that can punish bigs dropping back in ball screen actions. Given certain conditions, a proficient drop defender and an on-ball defender who can navigate screens, for example, drop coverage can be a useful tool to keep possessions 2 versus 2 and prevent a defense from being put in rotation. Against the Blazers, Post flashed his discipline and fundamentals as a drop defender. Him being able to contain and corral ball handlers while also keeping tabs on the roll man, i.e., playing the middle ground effectively, stood out. Note how the rest of the Warriors defenders did not have to significantly move off of their assignments. Curry doesn't stray far off of Toumani Camara in the weak side corner. Green marginally tags Klingon but otherwise stays in position to close out on Denny Avdija. Moody stays home on Anthony Simons in the strong side corner, as he should. As mentioned, effective drop coverage possessions often require two components, the drop big and the on-ball defender. Being paired with Moody, whose screen navigation and ball pressure have stood out over the past few games, helps Post play his part effectively. Another specialist extraordinaire in the making, Moody's on-ball defense complemented Post's drop coverage perfectly, while also standing out on its own merits. Not too long ago, Moody was lauded for his exceptional on-ball defense against the New York Knicks' Jalen Brunson, whom he iced and weaked profusely in an attempt to deny Brunson from driving down the middle of the lane. He picked up where he left off from that game, while also excelling as a ball pressure specialist against Simons and against Moody's high school teammate Cade Cunningham a few nights ago. Bolstered by familiarity, Moody was able to give Cunningham fits in spots. Suffice to say, Cunningham was made to work for all of his points, just like Brunson before him. Moody's development as a point-of-attack specialist is adding to an existing skill set as a roamer/help defender, whose 7 feet 1 inch wingspan transforms wayward passes into forced turnovers. When playing the role of the one helping the helper in the possession below, he splits the difference perfectly between the dunker spot and the corner, stunting to take away the dunker option, compelling Avdija pass to the corner and making Avdija realize that it's exactly the move Moody wanted him to make. But perhaps the most impressive trait of his defense has been his lock and trail chops and screen navigation when chasing movers off the ball. He tracks Simons around the off-ball screen below, gets in front on time to contest and force the miss, and triggers the break, one that he himself finishes. All while shooting the three ball at a 38.3% success rate, projecting him as a valuable 3-and-D specialist whose tenacity as a ball hawk and proficiency as a help defender are making it very, very difficult to justify a reduction of minutes, should one ever come. While Curry's rejuvenated sense of purpose and Butler's timely arrival are the major reasons behind this late-season surge, the emergence of specialist skill sets to complement Curry and Butler shouldn't be ignored. Post and Moody have been two glaring examples of such, special to watch how they've specialized and filled in glaring gaps the Warriors needed to fill after the trade deadline.